be going over the tech news for this week, and this week's tech news is very good. Audacity has been changing its privacy policy, saying that it will now be spying on users or just sending telemetry data, which isn't good from an open source app like Audacity. So yeah, I don't really think that's a good thing, you know. That's happening, and there's a lot of other news, so stay tuned, everybody. Put your seatbelts on, because there's tech news today. LinkedIn has had a data breach, another one. I know, it happens all the time. Their second data breach, I believe. Even more credentials revealed of people's data has been revealed, which isn't good at all. So if you're using LinkedIn, that might be a bit of a problem. So yeah, but why don't we actually get into it then? So the first story today is let's see the first story. Why don't we talk about Audacity Spying as our first story? So I've got my own article here on my blog about it. So here's my thoughts. So recently Audacity has attracted some controversy via its new data collection policies that has got many people in the floss community very angry and annoyed and just pissed off in general. And people have said it's spyware and all sorts. This comes after News Group bought the company, bought the project, because it's a project, not a company, but they bought it, and the privacy policy now says it will collect user country based on IP address, OS name, and version, CPU, non-fatal error codes and messages, and crash reports in breakpad mini dump format. So yeah, they said that they can share this info with third parties, advisors, and potential buyers. So not just their buyers, their potential buyers. So they can actually give your IP address to their potential buyers. Now that isn't a good thing at all. And also your OS name and all sorts of stuff that could potentially give away who you are. So this clearly isn't good telemetry. So I suggest you turn it off or use a fork of Audacity. The update has also said that you have to be 13 to use the app, which is a violation of the GPL license Audacity itself has licensed itself under before. So clearly News Group are violating the GPL. Naughty News Group for violating the GPL. Don't do that. That's just a bad, immoral thing to do. But, you know, apparently News Group aren't afraid of violating the GPL and pissing off the whole entire open source community. So, you know, but yeah, so now News Group has introduced a new contributing license agreement to add, so if you add code to Audacity, you can no longer complain how Audacity or News Group use the code. So if it violates a license, then you can't bring any legal procedures against them for it. And they state, News Group they made a statement saying that the user's IP addresses are stored in a readable format for only 24 hours in before, but is it really? And they say that it becomes pseudonymized. I think I'm saying that correct. So like anonymous, but I don't think, or it uses a pseudo kind of thing. So it kind of it's like, why, I put in my article, why in the world would a audio editor need to collect people's IP addresses? This is a bit weird. With stuff like Firefox, I might get their spying, like their telemetry stuff a bit more when it comes to they actually are a web browser and they need to make some connections. But audio editor, guys, why is an audio editor collecting your IP address? The most unnecessary thing ever. So yeah, so I think you you could use it without a internet connection. That could be an idea, but overall I think Newsgroup can't be trusted. You should move away from Audacity. If Newsgroup really want to show to me why they're doing all this, they can email me, but they're probably never going to do that. So until they do that, which they're probably never going to do, they're bad in my book. But there's also other articles on this by the Foss Post. That was the original one. There's one on Engadget. These are my sources right here. So that's the first story. Overall, it's pretty bad news. Some people are overdoing it when it comes to how bad it is, but I still think it's pretty bad. So I guess this is pretty bad, but kinda expected. Not really expected, but more like kind of fixable. You can just not use Audacity anymore. That's the ultimate fix to that problem. But why don't we talk about another article? So why don't we talk about Windows 11 making it harder to change your default browser. So now you will actually have to in Windows 11 you'll see a list of individual files and links you'll need to use your preferred browser for. The additional options are HTTP. So basically you've got a list. You've got to select each one, and basically you're gonna have to go through and individually select each thing that you want another web browser to do, which is very silly of Microsoft. This just shows how they're trying to push people to use Edge, which is so sinister. Proprietary software being pushed by a proprietary operating system doesn't really surprise me. But I don't really think this is good at all. But hey, I guess it's news. They could change this before Windows 11 is fully released, because this is just the insider builds. But this just suggests that they're thinking about making it harder to change your actual default web browser for stuff, because they want people to use Edge, and they think that Edge is the best. Edge is the best, but Edge is not the best, alright guys. There are better options than Edge. So So why don't we talk about LinkedIn? How can LinkedIn get breached again? Oh wait, they did. And it appears there's just some nice JSON files flying around with those credentials in them. Some casual JSON files, I believe. That looks like a JSON file to me. Just casually with all the data in it, like as you do, Most breaches are in JSON files, I believe, because that's how you keep most data stored. If you're not, you should encrypt it, guys. But so this LinkedIn breach has exposed 700 million users, which is 92% of their users. This database was sold on the dark web, including phone numbers, physical addresses, geolocation data, and inferred salaries. The hacker who obtained the data has posted a sample of 1 million records, and checks confirm that it is both genuine and up to date. So there's all this up to date information: your gender, your social media platforms, your usernames, your professional experience, your geolocation, your physical addresses, your phone numbers, your full names. So this is pretty bad, and it could be used for identity theft, and just isn't good. The guy who did it claimed that he exploited the LinkedIn API to harvest the data that people uploaded to the site. So it's pretty bad, and all these people's data are now on the internet. So that's pretty bad, and now people know a lot more about other people, and that's pretty bad when it comes to security and privacy, in fact. So yeah. So why don't we move on to another article? So why don't we talk about Vivaldi? So, I swear. Thanks. So thanks, Thomas Zabrinson. Uh, uh, Thanks for streaming with us. There's no way to currently pop out the chat at the moment. There's some tools here. I thought there was a way to pop out the chat. Or did that stop? I'm a bit confused about that one, but yeah. Did they discontinue that? I believe you could do it before, but anyway, thank you for the 25 LBC tip. That was very nice. Yeah, it would be nice to see the ability to pop out the chat. There's some tools here. Oh, I think I might have used these tools. I'm definitely going to check those out after. And yeah, so why don't we go back onto the Vivaldi news here. So the letter has been undersigned to EU and US regulators that urged them to take action in banning surveillance-based ads as recommended by the Norwegian Consumer Council. So the people who have signed this are Vivaldi, Fathom, Proton Mail, Tutanota, Mojik, Ecosia, Disconnect, Fast Mail. Another one here, I've never heard of those before. Start Page, DuckDuckGo, Mail Fence, Nextcloud, and Strossel. I've heard of all of them except from Kobler and Strossel. But I've heard of all the others. They're all very big names in the privacy scene. Vivaldi, even though they make a closed source browser, I must say it's alright for tracking compared to, let's say, Google Chrome. But I would suggest you use a different browser, but you do you if you use Vivaldi. Much better than using even Brave, really. But in the EU, they urged regulators to ban. So they've urged people in the EU and US. They've urged the regulators to ban the surveillance-based advertisements. I don't think it will go anywhere, but it's very good to see them stepping up to the plate and dishing out more open letters and basically more kind of action on surveillance-based advertising, and surveillance in general is a good thing, so we don't get surveilled as much, and surveillance-based advertising sucks, so banning some of that would be good. But why don't we talk about So there's an interesting read here. I won't go over all, but it's just an interesting read about trust in software and all-time low. It's an opinion piece, pretty much. That's the reason why I'm going to stick opinion piece in next to it, right here. This is going to be published on LBRY, the notes, I mean. So you can just gather all of the data, gather all the articles and read them for yourself. It's kind of going to be like the sources. So yeah, but why don't we talk about a different thing? So why don't we talk about a sad article? This is a sad one. So I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that name wrong, has died, and he was a kind of champ. He was an advocate for the open internet and the free internet and free expression, free speech, and he was a great person. I believe he was a good person. I mean, the EFF say that he was a good person, and I looked at some of the stuff he's done, and yeah, he looked like a legend, so it's sad to see his passing. So yeah, so that's some news, not good news, but it's news, I guess. So yeah. But yeah, that is pretty sad. But you know, why don't we move on to the next article? Why don't we move on to the fact that Apple founder Steve Wozniak has actually backs right to repair movement. So Steve Wozniak has said that existing right to repair rules has saying that it's so he's basically saying that he backs the right to repair movement, and he says that you shouldn't be restricted, and I believe Steve Wozniak has come good on this one. He said some good stuff here. Basically it's like he's always I expected this to happen because he was always kind of based on the openness. He moved away from Apple, I believe, because of how basically how you couldn't self-repair Apple products, and he just thought that the direction of Apple was going the wrong way, which I might agree with when it comes to that. But so of course he was going to come out to say that the right to repair movement is good. But you know, that's just a story, and it's a good one. So why don't we talk about another thing? So why don't we talk about the YouTube algorithm investigated? That's correct. We put Mozilla got their spy glasses out. They got their magnifying glasses. There we are. And they started looking around YouTube. They issued a Firefox extension. In fact, I've got one right here. I've got it right here. Regrets reporter. So it's a YouTube thing that allows you to report hateful content and just learn how the algorithm works and how basically how the YouTube algorithm works and how it spreads hateful stuff. So as you can see here, it appears that apparently YouTube's algorithm is spreading hate, and even though you could be using Odysee, which is just much better, and it actually doesn't censor you, and yet somehow YouTube, even when it bans everything that it doesn't like, somehow all the COVID-19 vaccine stuff, fear-mongering stuff, somehow gets through. It's like pretty bad, and YouTube need to fix their algorithm, but the algorithm is broken, and that's one reason why you should use Odysee, because it doesn't rely on a complex algorithm that's going like, oh my god, it just recommends content based on what you view and stuff, you know. A bit less weird than the YouTube algorithm. It can never know what it's actually doing, and it doesn't recommend you based on the content you're watching. It does recommend it based on that, but it recommends it on all sorts of factors, and 71% of all videos that volunteers reported as regretful were recommended by its very own algorithm, YouTube's very own algorithm. So there was many. So many of these have been actually removed from YouTube, which is good, but it is a bit of a bad thing, the YouTube algorithm, and you can read all this, and you can also read the paper if you want to. If you agree with Mozilla or you don't agree with Mozilla, this is still an interesting paper, I guess. You can watch it if you can like read. You can read the paper if you want to. It's an interesting one. You know, it's interesting to see how the lack of transparency in the YouTube AI and how it works. So we finally found it, guys. So there's a new app that brings Android 12's privacy dashboard to older phones. And so I've checked out this app. It seems pretty cool. It could be open source. I hope it becomes open source soon, but you know, I'm trying my luck a bit there. But you know, it'll be good to hear to see it go open source. It'll be really nice to see that. I might email them about making it open source. You know, guys, direct action, email them and just say, do you want to make it open source, guys? You know, that would be a good idea. You could list it on F-Droid and you could just make it a great app. But, you know, yeah, I guess we're just dealing with that for now. Yeah. So basically, it allows you to have all the features of the privacy dashboard. It allows you to have an indicator when a location, camera, and microphone is being used and other permissions are being used. And it just allows you to have an indicator, yeah, so you can just see when apps are using stuff. It doesn't, the app itself, the privacy dashboard app itself doesn't use any permissions it doesn't need to use. And it's ad free, and it has all these settings, and looks nice. And detailed view of permissions and app usage. So yeah, it's pretty nice, you know. Pretty nice. So that's another story. So why don't we? So you can watch you can watch Richard Branson get rocketed, get like a rocket, propel him into space. That could go well or badly, you know. But you can watch it on the 11th of July, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. I don't know what that is in UK time, but yeah, you can watch that if you want to. So yeah. So why don't we go on to a bit of the phone news, guys? Why don't we go on to the phone news? So Bixby's news, their assistant is becoming less annoying to use. With the latest update, Bixby no longer takes up the entire screen. Now, yeah, there's all these new features. I don't like virtual assistants, but I think Bixby might collect less data than, let's say, Google Assistant. But yeah, I still don't like it. But you know, yeah, I don't like virtual assistants in general. But you know, you can use it if you want to, and there's some nice updates to it. So yeah, so you can see that Samsung haven't given up on Bixby totally yet. I remember those videos that Sam Time did about the Bixby virtual assistant with, like, it was a joke video, you know. I like a lot of Sam Time videos where he went over, where he, like, it was like a joke, like, the Bixby was like your butler, but it never really worked. And yeah, that's kind of the sum up of Bixby, you know. And it's a bit stupid, but you know, it's a virtual assistant you can use. It's better to have competition than no competition, but I don't really like this industry when, like the AI assistant industry, but it's interesting to follow, I guess. So yeah. So why don't we, so there's new Android 12 APIs, new game mode APIs, so yeah, so basically new, how you can optimize, you can let games tune their settings to either optimize performance or power usage depending on users' preferences. This would be really nice to see. Hopefully these APIs are a part of Android open source project and not closed source, because you know. But I will just have to wait and see on that one. I think it will be an open source API. So yeah. Oh, okay. So one of my articles has actually yeah, this article that I've shown, okay, so these APIs can only be used for, oh yeah, so it's not actually intended to be used for, yeah, so it's not actually intended to be used for general apps. It's only meant to be used for select Samsung apps. So yeah, so it's not intended to be used publicly. But hey, it's a thing that happened, and yeah. So yeah, so I think we're getting close to the end of the news, guys. We're close. We're close, guys. And I need a drink of water, guys, or another drink of something else. So, you know. But yeah, so why don't we talk about... Here's the last story, guys. Last story, a new project. It's choose a license, choose an open source license. It's just an interesting website that just easily tells you how to, what licenses to use. So I need to work in a community, so you can look at all the licenses that you can use, the best suited for your uses, and yeah, and yeah, it's interesting to see that, and it's a nice website. I might contribute something to the website using GitHub if I can, because it looks like a nice project and I want to help out with that. That looks nice. So yeah, why don't we end the tech news section? So if you have not actually followed me on Odysee and LBRY / LBRY, or just checked out Odysee in general, you don't have to view my videos. You can just check out Odysee. It's a great video platform, and so is LBRY. So if you want to see the rest of the stream, and you wanted to see the full thing, and you wanted to like interact with it and all that, then you should have checked me out on Odysee, guys. Better luck next time if you weren't on Odysee at this time. But you know, yeah, you can check out Odysee, and I'll be streaming again next week at let me think. Oh yeah, 5:30. Sometimes it's later, sometimes it's earlier, but I'll just start up a stream. Just watch out for those, guys. I'll be publishing that in my Matrix chat. If you want if you want to get articles into my tech news stuff, then you can actually just you can check out my Lemmy community, where you can just submit some stories if they're good stories, and basically if they're any stories tech related, then I'll probably cover them on this show. That is the tech news community on Lemmy. Lemmy is a very cool Reddit alternative, so yeah. And yeah, so thank you for watching today's video and stream. See you in the next one.